against four furry ape men. Dire wolves have returned to quell that furry Bigfoot and send him back to hell. Jason and Donnie can make Bigfoot die. So together let's slay that furry shit. Jason, Donnie, dire wolves for America. The torches of freedom are lit. Dire wolves are back again to fight with fire against four furry ape men. Dire wolves have returned to quell that furry Bigfoot and send him back to hell.
And just like that.
Are we recording now?
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay. I need a copy of that.
So what'd you think of the theme song?
That was amazing. That's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
I feel like I could have done it better.
Maybe, but you know what it really reminded me of was the remember the sort of pop rock metal songs from the Transformers movie, the original cartoon. That's what it reminded me of.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I half expected Stan Bush to show up.
So yeah, I mean, people have always been talking all this smack about my show, being like, "Damn, Donnie, you need a theme song," and I'm like, thanks to AI music generator apps, I've got a different theme song for each episode now.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Plus, I also have an excuse to flash the thumbnail.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
No, I'm proud of those things. I want to show those things off.
You should. They're good. They are works of art unto themselves. So.
Yeah. Okay, well, tonight's a pre-recorded. Tonight's a bonus episode. So, congratulations, folks listening at home. You've got a freebie.
Just soak it in, people.
Yeah.
Soak it in.
Appreciate this, folks. Because tonight we are discussing some current events. There have been some news coming out. Recently, I'm sure you're all aware that we brought back the dire wolves. Yes. And I, Donnie Cho, as the commander and the general of the Bigfoot Slayers Society of America,
yes,
welcome our new furry friends, because they will help us to eradicate that booger menace, that piece of shit scourge known as the Bigfoot.
Okay, so couple things on that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't actually bring back dire wolves specifically.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I know that's what they're saying they are, but that's not. But they aren't real. Like, if you notice, it's always when pretty Colossal, the Dallas-based company,
Mm-hmm.
repping Big D down here. They use it in quotation marks because it's not really like this isn't. These things aren't cloned per se. These aren't cloned dire wolves. These are genetically manipulated gray wolves to. It's the great value of dire wolves.
So then why are they white, Jason, if they're gray wolves? Is that the dire side? It made them all white?
Yep.
What's that mean, Jason?
Well, it just means they're clearly genetically superior wolves is what that means there, Donnie.
Yeah, because get that gray wolf trash out of here, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like Gandalf, right? He goes from being Gandalf the Gray to Gandalf the White. That's how you know it's about to happen. No, so what they did was this company got like 500 times more DNA information out of there was a piece of a tooth and hyroid, maybe it's vertebrae, I forget. Anyway, they were able to get like 500 times more data out of it than other companies had and other labs had. What they were able to do is use artificial intelligence and CRISPR technology to take gray wolf DNA and essentially say, okay, we can isolate them, we can create and essentially reprogram that DNA to become an approximation of what we found in the dire wolves' DNA. So it's not like a clone per se. It's a genetically manipulated dire wolf that essentially is what we've done is we've turned it into, we messed with the genome to turn it into a dire wolf. So it's not truly a dire wolf, but it's also kind of a dire wolf. Like this is honestly the first time it's kind of happened. So it's like, but it's not. They aren't clones. They are. Did you ever see Exo Squad, the show?
Oh yeah, I used to love that show.
Yeah, Ben Dunn. He's been on the show with us. The guy who starts and runs Antarctic Press. He's also the creator of Warrior Nun Ariella. You've seen the show on Netflix. He actually used to work on Exo Squad back in the day.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
So I bring them up because for those who don't know, the show was about this war between humans and these things called Neo-Sapiens. They were a genetically engineered slave race. They took human DNA and then manipulated it to create these sort of... I'll just go ahead and pop them up. These the slave race of non-human humans is the best way to think of it. They were larger, stronger. They could survive in the Martian atmosphere. Essentially, they were a slave race to do this off-world work that was too dangerous for normal humans. They rebelled, right? And of course, they took over. It's
essentially what we ought to do with Neanderthal DNA.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I think that's what we should do. I think we should bring Neanderthals back because they're more hardy, more robust. Totally make them into slaves.
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea. But essentially, going back to the whole direwolf thing, that's really what we're dealing with. It's sort of like the Neo-Sapiens of dogs. Like, they're not, again, they're not cloned. What we did was we got enough of their DNA to figure out what made them tick. Like, what was the blueprint for them. And then genetically re-engineered gray wolf DNA to transform it into a copy of a dire wolf DNA. As I live off of my cough drops because I'm still recovering from whatever the heck this thing was. So, but...
What do we know about the original dire wolves? What do you know about them?
Honestly, the only thing we know about them is that they were essentially just bigger wolves. They genetically, though, they do seem to have been a unique line. Different from, like, maybe a little older or a different line from, say, like the jackals and gray wolves. As far as what we can see, they're an older line, maybe, or even a divergent line. Like the difference between, there's some question as to whether or not they could actually interbreed, but we don't really know. There's some questions on it, but it's looking like the difference between dogs and mules, right? Like they can...
You mean like a difference between a horse and a mule?
Yeah, sorry, a horse and a mule. So again, they're basically the same thing, but they're their own distinct genetic line. They are adorable, though, right? Because we're seeing them in the puppy phase.
Oh yeah, let me show you this picture. Dire wolves. Fuck yeah.
They're adorable, aren't they? Look at them. Just the big
Look
jaws.
at them. And meanwhile, George R. R. Martin is still not finishing his fucking book. And everyone looking at this is be like, hey man, stop petting dire wolves. Finish your goddamn book, Mr. Martin. Seriously. We're still waiting on the second to last one. It's not even the last one they're waiting for.
Yeah.
That lazy son of a bitch. Fucking sits around and writes in his blog about the New England Patriots. Not finishing his goddamn book. Fucking procrastinator.
So let me stress this enough. I don't like George R. R. Martin, like, at all. I don't care necessarily. I have no appreciation at all for not Lord of the Rings.
Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones, yeah. Like, he's... Like, I don't care. I think it's way overblown. But that being said, even I can appreciate the whole... Shut up and write your damn book.
Finish your goddamn book, sir.
It. Like, you're not... Look at you. Like, I'm trying to get healthier. This dude clearly isn't. He's running around on his little hover around. It's like, dude, either get healthy so you can procrastinate or get to writing these books because they're not getting done. Even I will come to the defense of every nerd who likes the Game of Thrones books. Finish the series because clearly you ain't gonna be here long enough to finish both of these books the rate you're doing. Just finish writing them.
Just finish writing them.
So, anyway.
Yeah.
So, why do you think that the dire wolf would be? Which again, these aren't. They're dire wolves. Why do you think this would help us in the slaying of the vile evil that is the Bigfoot?
Well, I believe in order to bring about the destruction of the booger menace, we need to fight fire with fire. Okay. If there's going to be a hairy beast running around in our woods, violating the sovereignty of America, then we as Americans, we need to produce our own hairy beast that will take that motherfucker down.
Still not liking the way you use the B word, but I see where you're going. I can see where you're going. I just don't know that genetically manipulating gray wolf DNA into dire wolf DNA is necessarily the best use of this, because
it's a step in the right direction, though.
Maybe, but it's not really what this is about. I mean, you do understand what this is actually about, right?
Producing the ultimate fur weapon?
No.
Well, what is it about then?
Ultimately, what this is about, actually, hold on. This is called a callback. It's about these things. It's about maybe not necessarily creating a slave race, though that's probably in the cards. This is the technology. The thing is, human experimentation and cloning and stuff like this is technically illegal. So, how do you perfect the technology without freaking everybody out? You do things like, we're going to bring back these extinct, animals, and we're going to, you go on their website, it's all about biodiversity and creating new, and trying to bring, make certain we have these other things that don't go extinct, like red wolves and all this. What it's really about, like, do you honestly think that there are companies that are dropping billions of dollars to just bring back the Snuffleupagus? Like, that's not happening. This is about us. This is about trying to find a way, about perfecting the technology needed to do two things: designer embryos, and then real-time epigenetic and genetic modification of a living being, right? So not just programming and creating a new embryo into a new type of being. Again, like the Neo Sapiens, they probably wouldn't be blue and bulky and all this, but designer babies. But then also being able to perfect the technology so you get a shot, or maybe a series of shots, and it redoes your DNA. It triggers. It doesn't rewrite it in so much as in real time. It reactivates particular epigenetic, or through epigenetics, reactivates certain genomes that are already present but dormant to do things differently. And that's what this is ultimately about. This is just put the dog back up, right? It's like, oh, look at how cute these things are. Aren't they adorable? Clearly this technology cannot possibly go wrong. That's what this is. This is the PR for being able to do the experimentation to recreate or change humans on a genetic level. That's what this is. Those aren't dire wolves. They're neo canines, so they can eventually make the Neo Sapiens. That's all it is. It's transhumanism. So no,
I still think it could be a step in the right direction, though, as an anti-Bigfoot weapon. You don't think so?
No, because look at what we know Bigfoot will do to dogs, right? We know that they'll kill dogs. And dire wolves are big dogs, but they're just dogs. We would need something much larger to take out Bigfoot. Like, again, maybe like the woolly mammoth, right? However, the amount of resources where we'd have to put into them to raise them, to train them, I'm still not convinced that something like a woolly mammoth or anything like that would be useful as a weapon. maybe something like a saber-toothed tiger, I guess, could be useful, but still, that's a lot of resources, when guns exist.
I was trying to load a picture of a saber-toothed tiger, but my phone is acting fucking retarded right now. Sorry. Excuse my language.
It knows what you're up to.
It's a fucking piece of shit. I was trying to load a picture of a saber-toothed tiger. I had it saved, and it just doesn't fucking... I don't know if it's StreamYard's problem or iPhone's problem. There we go. See, I feel like now that we got fucking direwolves all ready to go, that's our next step, right? We get fucking Smilodon up in there, release it out into the fucking woods, and we level the playing field. That's what I say with Bigfoot. Because, Bigfoot can handle wolves and maybe bears. Is it handling a fucking straight-up Smilodon, though? Yo, I don't think so. I think this thing's got Bigfoot's number. That's what I'm saying.
I can't say that you're wrong. But the thing is, I don't know that we'd be able to necessarily recreate a Smilodon.
Yeah, you just take the little Smilodon DNAs from roughly the same time period, just inject that shit into some tiger embryo.
Maybe.
Right? Get George R. R. Martin in there to bless the whole process, and damn, we're golden.
He goes in there.
We good.
They just rub his belly for Game of Thrones luck.
I mean, he's obviously very lucky. He's like a freaking billionaire. He hasn't even finished the series.
That's true.
Fucking J.K. Rowling's looking all at him, and she's just like feeling like a sucker because she's like, "Oh, damn, I finished my series."
Yeah, I actually wrote books. What the heck?
Yeah,
that's fair.
Like a sucker.
But, well, so again, the Smilodon thing, maybe. I mean, I could see them being a furry missile, but again, I'm not certain that the resources that we would need to breed and train the Smilodons would be.
Let me ask you this question, Jason, just out of curiosity.
Okay.
Let's say you had the power and the means. You can bring back any animal from prehistory to fuck Bigfoot up. What are you bringing back?
Hear me out. Not the Velociraptor, because the Velociraptors that you're thinking of from Jurassic Park, it's not what they are. Velociraptors are much smaller, right? You want something like a Utah Raptor, which is like very much what you'd see in Jurassic Park, right?
Mm-hmm.
A pack of Utah Raptors. I think you could train them, and let's be honest, right? They probably are already a natural enemy to Bigfoot.
I'm sure they would not get along.
Yeah, if you think about it, they're probably already enemies of Bigfoot, given that they're birds. They're related to birds. Bigfoot, we know how he feels about the bald eagle. They probably would take offense to that. So yeah, I mean, honestly, probably something like the Utahraptor would be what I would pull, because I think there's they would be genetically predisposed to taking out the Bigfoot.
Especially like a pack of them?
Oh yeah.
I think a Utah Raptor would be an excellent choice, as a matter of fact. Probably really hard as shit to clone. But if you had the ability to bring back any creature, hell yeah.
Well, think about it. You just grab some cassowary DNA, right? Like an embryo. You get some Utahraptor DNA. Plug that puppy in there.
There you go.
Make it happen.
Fucking Utah Raptor.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Look at them. They're that one in the back that's they've got the wings going. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that would be a great weapon.
All right, hear me out. Let me get this picture prepared, and I've got hear me out on my idea, okay? If we can't bring back the Smilodon,
yep.
Let's see if my phone stops acting all retarded. Oh no, my phone is not retarded. Okay.
Was it the user who's retarded?
No, actually, I think it was the picture format. It depends on which picture format it is when I download it off the internet. Anyway, Andrew Sarkis.
You know what? I've actually thrown out Andrew Sarkis as an idea for the identity for the Beast of Gévaudan.
Now, here's why, right? I mean, if you think about it, it's it's like the size of a horse.
Yeah.
It's got the jaws of a crocodile. It's just mean, right? Yep. It's just mean.
They really
It's all
are.
sorts of mean.
Yeah.
Do you think Bigfoot's going to have an answer for this?
No, but you get 2 or 3 of those things on one.
No.
I think Andrew Sarkis is probably the best option. Now you're right. The problem is I don't know if they could talk it out. Like that's the thing with the Utahraptors. I don't think there's any way for the Bigfoot to kind of like communicate with it, right?
Because Bigfoot might mind speak with it because it's like, oh hey, fellow mammal.
Right.
But then Bigfoot tries to mind speak with these motherfuckers. He's like, it's like talking to a lizard. I don't know what the fuck they're.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're gonna have no mercy.
Mm-hmm. In fact, they may take
birds and avian creatures. If you see the way they kill, they're just merciless.
No mercy.
Merciless.
Actually, funny story. I was out walking the dog, and I let her off the leash when we get to the pond that's by the house. And it was a little windy today, and this vulture was sort of riding the currents, like it landed and was hanging out in the trees and stuff over, and so it was using the current to try and gain some altitude. So it does the thing where it swoops down to pull up, and my dog's coming around this fence, and it comes right down. Skirts like the very top of the fence, and the dog just kind of jumps back, like, what the heck is going on here? Because it's the big turkey buzzards, real big. Kind of. She didn't yelp or anything, but she was like, I don't know how I feel about this. These things are a little bit closer than I'd like.
Yeah, we got a bunch of vultures. Birds. Like I don't know if they're buzzards or bull vultures, but we got a bunch of them in my neighborhood, big black ones, because there's so much roadkill, man.
Yeah,
and these things are just feasting. They must be doing well, man. The amount of roadkill. I mean, you probably get a lot of roadkill in your area too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's definitely roadkill, a lot, but you have to remember there's also a lot of just like area, and farmland and stuff like that. So yeah, there's all kinds of things running around that they will happily snack on. Yeah. So again, that's all I'm saying is I think there's that natural sort of animosity between mammals and avians that makes the Utahraptor an optimal solution. Versus, like, say, Andrew Sarkis, because, like, Bigfoot may just get all wonky on it. And then the next thing you know, now we don't have to just worry about Bigfoot, but now Bigfoot with packs of Andrew Sarkis, Andrew Sarkai, running around. Maybe they're riding them like wargs from Lord of the Rings. The much better version. I'm just saying, maybe we want to go avian. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they would show Bigfoot less mercy, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, Bigfoot can sort of maybe reason with a Smilodon or an Andrew Sarkis, but a Utahraptor, you ain't reasoning with that.
No, he's not.
He's going to look at Bigfoot, it's going to be like, yeah, that's food.
Yeah, and they're not going to dig it. And he's going to think, okay, it's Kentucky Fried Chicken. They're going to disagree. And now we have these packs of Utahraptors running around with a mat on, because the hairy ape man, thought they could fricassee him, and they took offense to that.
Yeah, Bigfoot's going to take just one look at these motherfuckers, and he's going to be like, nope, I'm out of here, and he's going to step back into his portal. Yep.
And then so then the question becomes, what happens if they follow him into the portal?
Then you got interdimensional Utahraptors, then we're all fucked, man.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, is this whole direwolf thing unlocking a Pandora's box of genetic monstrosity that we don't want to really deal with?
But then think of the applications, though, because if we can get enough direwolf DNA into some gray wolf pups, who's to say we can't get, some Neanderthal DNA? Pump enough Neanderthal DNA into like a human, until there's so much Neanderthal DNA that it no longer counts as humans, and then we can use them as cheap labor.
Well, first of all, that's how we got these, and it didn't work out right. Okay, Mars got blowed up, we got enslaved. It never ends well. It never ends well.
Just keep those Neanderthals, just keep them illiterate.
How do you know, by the way, that's not what happened with Bigfoot?
What do you mean?
Think about it. How do we know that Bigfoot isn't just some human that in ancient technologies, right back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
they decided to start messing with some genetic manipulation. Things got all blown up. We got Bigfoot, and then we had to blow things up and reset it back to zero.
Hmm.
And Bigfoot is just a furry interdimensional survivor of this apocalypse, right? Maybe Neo Sapiens are just the fictional version of Bigfoot, and it's a warning because they've already destroyed our civilization once, and they're going to do it again. So we need to avoid making more Neo Sapiens. All I'm saying.
So do you think Bigfoot may have been designed genetically to be like a kind of like manual labor kind of creature, like a creature of labor?
I think it's entirely possible that's what happened, right? Ancient man. We got our spaceships and everything. Everything's clearly designed like a pyramid because that's the optimal space to do things if you're going to be traveling through space, obviously, and interdimensional portaling, right? Because you don't want things that can break down like glass and so you make everything out of stone. That's how you're a truly advanced civilization, is you make everything out of rock.
Yeah.
And they probably genetically engineered them so they could use bigger rocks, right?
Oh,
Right, pick up
like
bigger
Stonehenge.
rocks.
I could picture like a team of Bigfoots putting up Stonehenge.
Yeah.
If you look at those stones, you're like, oh man, how could humans have built that? Those things are so huge.
Right. Well,
But if you have like a fuck ton of Bigfoot, like 100 Bigfoot, I could definitely see them doing that.
that's what I'm saying. They're just picking up bigger rocks.
Yeah.
Because again, that's how you show how advanced your society is instead of using like micro.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe people look at that and be like, oh man, look at how many Bigfoot we got that we were able to make this. And then some other civilization comes along and be like, yo, damn, those motherfuckers, they got mad Bigfoots up in here that they made that.
Yep. And then the Bigfoots turn on us, right? And then we got to blow
Yeah.
things up, right? We got to reverse the polarity of the planet because we could do that because we had such advanced technology that with the advanced rock technology like we saw in Godzilla versus Kong, right? We
Yes.
reversed the polarity of the planet and caused the flood. And now, right, there's just a few of them that doggy paddled their way through the flood. Now they're still running around. That's why they're destroying and inflicting their furry their furry dementedness upon our great nation. I don't care about Canada, but like they're just running around.
Why do you
scatting
think-
Because they're like, no, we freed ourselves.
Why do you think, Jason, that Bigfoot chose to infest, and that's the word I'm going to use, infest
I like the word.
America? Why couldn't Bigfoot fuck off to like China or Brazil or like somewhere into Congo? Why does he have to, why does he choose our great nation for him to dump all of his shit?
Because he knew we were going to be here as Americans, and he knew he had to mess it up. Because he knew he could be in South America, nothing's going to happen, nobody would care. But he knew that America was going to be formed. And he needed to make certain that he wanted to put a stop to it because he's a communist. That's why he doesn't need to worry about Europe or the Congo because that's all messed up anyway. He's like, no, I need to make certain that I stop the greatest good for humanity, which is the United States. Because he's a communist.
Right.
Because Karl Marx, actually in his writings, he talks about how he was mind-speaking with Bigfoot. And it's Bigfoot that gave him the idea for communism.
And let's not forget, he's also woke.
Very woke.
He's very much
woke.
yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying, right? Originally, Bigfoot was probably blue, right? Like they dyed their fur blue, like the Neo Sapien. That's what they're bringing all the wokeness back. That's what happens. You go woke, you dye your hair blue. They were probably originally blue. So I'm saying we got to get rid of them. And unfortunately, we don't have the advanced, stone technology we have to do with like cell phones and guns and stuff. We don't have like, the magic rocks and stuff. So we're gonna have to do what we can. But that's what I'm saying. We can't just go rebreeding and using DNA to create a slave race, because that's probably what happened before. We're just going to repeat the cycle, and it's not going to solve the problem. It's only going to compound the problem, because now not only do we have Bigfoot, now we've got these Neanderthal humans running around, and now you've got Neanderthal humans with guns running around.
Oh man, if Neanderthals figured out how to use guns, yeah, that wouldn't be good.
That's what I'm saying, man.
That wouldn't be good.
No. We need to put a stop to transhumanism, because it's going to happen, right? This is what they want. They want designer embryos. They probably want to make us blue so that we're all just born woke. You don't have that way. You don't even have to program them through school and stuff. You can just genetically engineer someone to be woke. And now you're running around thinking, well, hey, yeah, the dire wolves are good, but then what happens to people like Tex, right? Because again, like I said, this is all about ultimately being able to reprogram somebody genetically in real time, not just creating embryos. What's going to happen when they can just shoot us all up and they turn us into Tex to create?
Well,
because what if the real slave race is us? What if they really just want to just turn us all into people like Tex, and then we all have the beards, and then we all just
become clones of Tex?
Become clones of Tex.
You know what? People have been commenting about how much Tex and I look alike. Like we could almost be brothers. What's that about?
That's what I'm saying, man.
Man. I guess we'll leave the folks with that cliffhanger tonight.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is a short one. I hope you guys enjoyed this bonus episode. Trying to figure out when I'm going to play this. I'm thinking Wednesday after my show with the
go for it.
The Blondes, the Paranormal Show and Tell.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Okay. Anyway, any last words for the people listening at home tonight, Jason?
They're not dire wolves. We need to stop transhumanism, because we don't all want to be turned into Tex clones and to create a slave race that would then create a bigger problem. We cannot let the Bigfoot win.
No.
Roll that beautiful dire wolf footage, sir.
Oh, you want to play that video again?
Yeah, play the video
theme song?
again. Let's sing it out. Play
All right.
Jason and Donnie stand united hand in hand to slay the Bigfoot menace that savages these lands. But for one problem, there's one solution to rid America of the furry cryptid pollution. Dire wolves are back again to fight the fight for against for furry ape men. Dire wolves have returned to quell that furry Bigfoot and send him back to hell. Dire wolves have returned thanks to AI. So hopefully Jason and Donnie can make Bigfoot die. So together let's slay that furry shit. Jason, Donnie, dire wolves for America. The torches of freedom are lit. Dire wolves are back again to fight with fire against for furry ape men. Dire wolves have returned to quell that furry Bigfoot and send him back to